Hello and welcome back to the vlog. Today is going to be a little bit different. I thought that I will have a little heart-to-heart and talk about how I've been feeling since I've moved and just be very honest about feelings in general. But while I do that, I am going to take you with me on my first ever pottery class. I have never been really good with my hands when it comes to being creative, but I thought that I've always wanted to try clay and this whole turntable thing. So I've booked a class with two of my colleagues, Anya and Serge, and Liz, while she was visiting Dubai. So come along with us as we go on this pottery class, and while you watch me attempt to try and make a mug, let's have a little heart-to-heart. So it has now been over 2 months since I've moved from the UK to Dubai, and it has been a whole whirlpool of emotions and, just a lot of things have happened, right? And I have talked a lot about the good things. I've showed you all the fun that I've had in Dubai. I've had a lot of friends visiting, which has been really lovely. I've started a new job, found a new house, and although it's overwhelmingly positive, there are also little anxieties and little feelings of how things are going, which I don't think are talked about enough on the internet. So reflecting a bit about this, right? So if we go back a few months when it was my final months in the UK, especially in August when it was getting scarily close to actually leaving, it was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions because of COVID, it was really hard to book anything. So even booking my flights were actually booked 1 week before I came because of all the admin nightmare with COVID and making sure that my hotel was ready, the flights would be fine. And it took a really long time. And you can imagine when you are uprooting your whole life from a country to another one, not having the certainty of just your flight dates is just really stressful. So I had to deal with all of that in terms of last minute plannings and then having to take care of all the COVID precautions, when to do the PCR test to make sure I don't get COVID, first of all, having to self-isolate before coming. And at the same time, my family was not there. And because of COVID, I could not meet my friends easily. So I could only see the people who were very close to me in Cambridge, geographically, I mean. And then it just meant that I spent my final month in Cambridge very sad because my family wasn't there, as I said, and my family has always been very key to every big decisions, every big moves. First time I moved from Mauritius to the UK, my sister came with me, helped me settle in. And then the second time I came back to Cambridge for my PhD, my friend from Oxford was already in Cambridge, called Lockie. Hello, Lockie. And so she helped me move in when I came that time. And then after that, it's just, it's always having people around when I was doing things. And this time I was going to do it on my own, which was obviously, I'm an adult. It's expected of you to do these things on your own. But it was scary. And then thank God for my friend Mehreen, who took sabbatical from work to help me. Obviously, she is the absolute hero. But that did take away a lot of the stress and the worry, knowing that I would not have to do it on my own. Obviously, it's all, just admin, and there is a lot of structure and support in place to do all of this. But I think the emotional side of things, right, it's really hard to not worry. And I've gotten this question in very different forms where people would ask me, oh, you come across as being very confident. Why are you worried about this? I didn't think that, you will have these kind of anxieties and stuff like that. And I think it's not very nice to say this to people because whoever we are, moving to a new country in the middle of a pandemic without your family is quite hard. And anyone would think that it is hard emotionally. And so I did struggle with that, trying to make peace with the idea that I will now be moving to a whole new place where I did not know anyone and starting a whole new job and a whole new lifestyle, right? And in the middle of a pandemic, which just makes everything so much worse. But I think that's one thing that I struggle with was because, not one thing, but there are two things here, right? The first thing is you obviously have your own doubts and worries, and you start thinking that, well, these things are just stressful. But then secondly, when you have to now put up a front because people are judging and being like, well, you should be happy, you should be grateful, you're getting all of these things that you get to do, you've always wanted to do. Yes, I am grateful, and worrying about something doesn't mean you're not grateful for it. It just means that, some people are overthinkers. I am an overthinker. I will think about all the possible ways that things can go right and things can go wrong, and I just like to be prepared, and that's why I do that. And it's normal to have little fears, and I think the point of this is to just try and normalize the fact that we all have worries, and sometimes they're justified, sometimes they're not, but as long as they're not interfering with your day-to-day, as in it's not stopping you from doing things, it's completely normal. And that's what I went through. And I feel like I should talk about this a little bit more openly, because people tend to be quite surprised when I say that, yeah, I did find the whole move quite, daunting and overwhelming. And people think that, oh, what? But that's not what it comes across as. So I don't want to be projecting a fake image of, oh, it was all easy peasy for me emotionally. It was not, and it cannot be for anyone. I think there are always these little thoughts at the back of your mind. And like, for example, for me, one of the big questions I had was, what if I don't like it? Then what? Because before then, I've only been to Dubai once for a weekend. And that was 6 years ago. And then I decided to move here without having been here for a long time, without really knowing the place. And obviously then there's that question of, what if I don't like it? What if I don't like the place? What if I don't make friends? What if I hate the job? Then what? And it just feels like a big decision that I'm making. And obviously then rectifying that would take a lot of time. And I think it's completely justified to have these thoughts and wonder what is going to happen. Obviously now I can say this looking back and thinking, yeah, it's normal to have these thoughts, but in the moment it is a little bit scary. And what was really helpful for me was that I have such wonderful friends and my parents who I can just talk to and be like, well, what do I do in these situations? And then everyone has been very supportive in the sense of, well, it's not the end of the world. If you don't like it, then you reassess, but wait till you get to that bridge to cross it. And I think in these moments, it's just so important to have people around you who just take you out of your head and rationalize everything for you, because you can just spiral a little bit. So that was very helpful. And after moving, obviously my friend was here with me for the first 3 weeks, which was so helpful. Everything is done quicker when there's two of you. In terms of the admin, she was just there, holding my hands, just through all of the paperwork nightmare. But then also she helped me with house hunting, just having a second pair of eyes when you're looking at houses and stuff is useful. And then we got to do all the touristing around, which was so much fun. And these 3 weeks were just so incredible. I immediately fell in love with Dubai after that, which was wonderful. But then once she left, I was now on my own for the first time in this new country. And it really hit me that, oh God, I am now on my own. And that was the real adjustment time. And it is hard. We all feel lonely in the first few days. And obviously I had a lot of friends who would just call me and just be on Zoom while I'm doing stuff, while they're doing stuff. And it was just nice to have that kind of emotional support. And just, I think it's just something that we have to go through. And I knew that it was going to be temporary, that I was going to get out of it. But in that moment, it is still sad, and I do miss everyone around me. I have always been surrounded by people that love me and always spoil me, and now being here on my own, having to start from scratch again, having to build my social group, having to find my own people, And it doesn't happen overnight. It is a very, very slow process. And then once work started, I basically had no time anymore. And I was lucky that a lot of my colleagues are really cool and we became friends. So that was easy. And then I got reconnected with a lot of my older friends who are in Dubai. So that obviously, again, just made things a lot easier. But as I said, it was a very slow transition from just being on your own to then identifying the people who you want to have in your life. And that took a few weeks. But you just have to be patient with it. I was patient with it. And very slowly, it just became so normal. Like, my house just became my own. My routine was there. I know everywhere. I know where to go to get things done. And like, I found a place to do my nails downstairs in my building. I know how to, stop taxis on the street now. I don't use the apps anymore. You just learn the little tricks of the country, and then you meet more and more people who teach you even more about the country. And very quickly, without realizing, Dubai now was home. And that happened within 2 months. And I think I'm very lucky that it happened so quickly. And now I'm settled in. I have my routine with work, and I have my routine for the weekend. I have my group of people that I want to see. I'm still making new friends. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do in terms of, YouTube and what is going to come out of this channel by the end of the year. I am still trying to figure out how to launch the next season of the podcast. There's a lot of things in the pipeline that has not been settled yet. I still have some admin that's getting sorted, but the majority of things have now been sorted, and these are the things that I was mostly worried about, and it's really nice to see them come together. And it just feels great. And that's not to say that I don't have my days where I just miss everything and everyone. I was talking to, was it Liz yesterday? And we were just thinking, oh my God, last year this time, where were we? What were we doing? And I just remember being in lockdown in Cambridge, being very grey and rainy and cold. And I had just finished my PhD viva, and I was in the middle of applying for jobs, preparing for the job interviews and the case studies, and just being really worried about what the future will hold. And that just puts everything into perspective, right? Like, now the long hours that I'm working, how tired I am, but this is something that I really wanted a year ago, and now I have it, and I should be grateful. And I think it's good to have these little reflection times and thinking, well, this thing that I'm now complaining about is something that I really, really wanted a while ago, and now I have it. And obviously not everything is hunky-dory, but that's okay. Everything has its positive and its negative, and we learn to adapt and pick the good things to be grateful for and work on the bad things. And I think that was very helpful to remember that last year this time, I was really hoping that by this time this year, I will be doing this job. And I am, and I got it, and I am very grateful for that. I think gratitude is really, really helpful to put everything into perspective and remembering why you are doing what you're doing. So for me, I knew that this was a necessary next step that I wanted to do for very specific reasons, and what I want to gain from this, and knowing that this will be temporary, that, this is the means to an end. And I do really enjoy the nature of my job. I love the work that I do. I'm just struggling with the number of hours that I work in a day, and it's just an adjustment period. Having spoken to a lot of people who do this, everyone says that the first year is just adjustment, so just stick to it, and that's what I'm doing. And it's good to hear that everyone else goes through it, so it's not just me, it's just the system of how it works. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity, and I remember how stressful the application was, how competitive it was, and to have made it to the other side, I am now very, very grateful and excited to be able to do this job. And I am in a wonderful country where I get to go to the beach at night, where I get to go to the mall, where I get to meet wonderful people. I'm still getting to film my YouTube videos. I get to go salsa dancing. I get to go swimming. I get to do a pottery class. Like, it's all wonderful. And I do feel very grateful. But I also have my days where I just miss being in the UK. I miss the cold. I miss the sound of rain. Who would have thought? It never rains here, but I do just miss being in the UK. I miss the culture there. I just miss people understanding my banter and laughing at my really terrible jokes. And I obviously miss the people, and I miss my little routine that I had developed there over the past 8 years. And it does make me sad. And I also miss home. So now I have 2 homes to miss. I miss Mauritius. I haven't been in over a year now. I haven't seen my family. And I just, you know, when you think about it, I have 2 different places that I now miss, and I have to go back to meet people, to interact with the place. And just the point of this emotional rant is that don't just go by what you see. Nothing is ever perfect. What you see on the internet is such a short, scripted, perfect version of like a very short time of someone's life, right? And everyone has their ups and downs. Everyone struggles with their own little inner demons. And that's normal. That's okay. That's what makes us human. And I just wanted to come on here and share with you how the move for me has been an emotional journey, good and bad, of like excitement and discovery, but also of the sadness of leaving something behind and the fear of the future. All of this was mixed together, and I think that's very normal. And as I said, it just makes us human. It brings us together in the sense that, you know, we just don't know what we're doing, really. We're just, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it's very much let's fake it till we make it. It's very YOLO. We figure it out as we do it. I remember when I was young, I used to think, wow, people in their 20s have it all figured it out. And now I'm in my 20s and I'm like, wait, what? I don't know how to do any of this. I'm just trying. And I think trying is important. And remembering what is important to you, what are your values, who are the people that matter the most, and just being grateful every day that, you know, we are healthy, we have our loved ones around them, they're all safe, and, you know, we're fed, we have a roof over our head. This is already a lot more than a lot of people have. So let's remember to be grateful and to love the people around us, to remind them that we love them. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, nothing matters, right? Money, work, all of that is just, it doesn't bring you the kind of fulfillment that relationships and love brings you. So remember to share the love with everyone around you and tell the people who you love that you love them, and appreciate the people who are in your life because they make a whole difference. So I think I will stop now with my little emotional rant. I hope you learned something from it. I don't know if you will, but here we are with my completed little cup, which I was very proud of. The teacher told me it looked really good and that my center is very centered. She was not talking about my emotional center, trust me. But here we are. I had a lot of fun doing this, and thank you for listening to my little emotional rant. And I will see you next time, maybe with more emotions, or if not, maybe something a bit more educational or entertaining. Thank you for staying till here, and remember to enjoy your day, be grateful, and spread the love. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye. So, this is my master deal.
What did you touch?
I just washed my hands. This is my bowl.
Yes.
I made this by being inspired by a lot of art. I used to be the last one in my art class, so to my art teacher who told me I have no artistic talent.
There you go.
Look at this.
There you go.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Like, it actually has sides and everything, okay? So, whatever. I think this is going to be a new hobby I take, you know. I'm going to
Okay.
come.
Okay.
They have a weekly class. I might do it and
Okay.
get better at it. And if you would like me to do something for you, commissioned, let me know.
No.
And if someone wants to buy this,
We're holding an auction.
bid
We're holding,
starts.
yeah.